Hey guys, this is Dominic with DataX, and I'm here to show you a brief tutorial on how to set up your DataX Dialpad integration. So we start out here on this screen once you log into DataX. You click down here in our handy little toolbox, and then we go down here to the Dialpad integration, and you'll see the screen on the left side. We have all of the communication from Dialpad going into JobTread, so all the settings related to that. On the right-hand side, we have all the settings related to communication from JobTread out to Dialpad, and we'll get to that here in a little bit. So step one is we go to Dialpad, and we click on our admin settings over here. And it may say your company name out here, it may say my company. Either way, you want to click on this drop down and select my company, and then it takes you to this other settings screen, and we want to go to authentication, and from authentication we want to go to API keys. And so here we click the add key button. We call it, let's call it DataX messaging. We have it set to never expire. We include all of the default scopes, and then we click here on the additional scopes, and we say recordings export, message content export. I would go ahead and check these two just so it's set up. We're debating on including summaries, transcripts, and all that from Dialpad meetings, which is Dialpad's version of video conferencing. We can leave the screen pop, change log, fax message, and list calls alone. And go ahead and hit save. And that gives us this API key. We're going to copy it. And then we're going to go back to our DataX screen. I'm going to paste it into this window and click save. And once this green section here shows up, this means that we are now connected to Dialpad. Using webhooks, which is a way for online systems to exchange data. JobTread uses webhooks. We'll get into that in just a moment. Like your bank uses webhooks to communicate with other financial institutions, all of that. So we're basically setting up webhooks from Dialpad to DataX, and then we're taking the information we're getting from those webhooks, and we are using webhooks and putting that into JobTread, and you'll see that in a second. So down here for event subscriptions, you can go ahead and pick, call ended. I don't recommend doing the call recording and call transcript. It just clutters your system a lot. I go ahead and do AI recap, summary, and AI recap action items. So that gives me a summary of phone calls that I've had with people, whether it's vendors or customers. And it also, action items, gives me a list of action items, whether that's a conversation with a vendor or a conversation with a customer. They also have outcomes and purposes. You can play around with that. It attempts to figure out what if there are any outcomes listed during the conversation, or like the purpose of the conversation. It will give you a little line about that. And then I also check off the voicemail has been transcribed, because I want to know when voicemails have been transcribed. And then I am going to go ahead and register SMS in both directions, because I want to capture both inbound and outbound SMS. You can change these if you want. I just recommend doing both directions. And then down here at the bottom, you'll have a list of all the phone numbers you have in Dialpad, and whether they're an office or user. I'm going to go ahead and click the office because I want to track all of my mainline activity. I don't as much care about my activity or my office staff, because I do everything on the mainline when I deal with customers and all that. And yeah, so then you go down here and hit save. And once it's saved, you'll see down here that it says there are 2 active subscriptions, one for phone calls and one for text messages. And then down here, this is a field that you will see on the customer that we store all of the data that we get from Dialpad 2. So there'll be a message thread. I think Elliot likes to use customer comms. I like to use customer messages. It can be whatever you want it to be. I'm going to go ahead and hit save on that. So what that looks like in real life is over here, we have one of our customers for Edson Builders, and I automatically generate these threads when the customer is created, which is a leftover from a previous version of this. I'm probably going to go ahead and change this, but with the DataX Dialpad integration, this thread will be automatically created whether you start an outgoing text message, which we'll look at here in a second, or whether they text into you. And this works both on customers and vendors. We track it on the customer and the vendor because if this customer reaches back out to you in the future, you don't want to have to go dig through all of their past jobs to find out what communication you had with them in the past. This way it just keeps all the communication with that customer or that vendor in one place. So, down here I send a message to Stephanie, scheduling a time to go out and come look at the project. We went out, she had availability, and I said, or she said, yeah, we can do between 1 and 1:30. That was actually today. So the second part that we talked about over here on the right-hand side, you'll have a yellow button here. You go ahead and click that, and we create a webhook in JobTread that connects to DataX so that when you type a specifically formatted comment in JobTread, it gets turned into a text message and it gets sent to either the customer or the vendor, depending on where that comment is written. If it's written on the job, it goes to the customer. If it's written on the customer, it goes to the customer. If it's written on the vendor, it goes to the vendor. And so you click that and it says connected over here, and then you can change the texting command. Some people like using /text. You can put whatever you want in here. Just know that whatever you put in here is the beginning of a comment in JobTread. And then the rest of that comment gets sent out as a text. And then down here, you pick which number you want outbound messages to come from. So we're going to save on that. And then I'm just going to choose the office so that any messages that I originate from inside JobTread to send messages out to people comes from the mainline number. So what that looks like is here I have myself as a test customer, and I can click on this and I can say text, hey, today, to continue and so I hit send on this, and it takes a couple of seconds, and then that message gets deleted, and it just happens to be on, because I'm writing it on the customer, that it gets replaced with my outbound message that I just sent to myself. Down here at the bottom, there is a little activity log that just shows what goes in and out, inbound, outbound, what phone numbers you can click to get the detail, etc. Yeah, if you have any questions about this, reach out to us through the website. Thank you very much.